What's up, everybody? It is another episode, another broadcast of the Rant Network. And you know what? I'm here with my partner, David Solomon, filling in as we compile our new intro in production. Looking forward to that. Anyways, David, it's Friday. Other than the fact that the sun's shining and there's still no snow on the ground by you, I got to tell you, did we coordinate our reddish colored shirts?
Apparently.
You lost your Mickey Mouse ears for today's broadcast, so you look
Yes,
good.
Stuart, stop giving Disney the credit.
But on the subject of Mickey Mouse ears and wokeness, and epic amounts of wokeness, our illustrious president of the United States, Joseph Biden, after 50 years in politics, has decided every American that has college debt outstanding.
Not everyone.
Hang on a second. That combined household income needs to be under $250,000, which represents 95% of America, David.
Okay? No, sir. Once again, 95% of America is not fact. Stop doing that, please, my friend.
Let's go. Under $250,000 per household.
Okay.
Sorry, David.
No, we're talking. No, well, we're talking about. Okay, yeah, you're right. Excuse me, we're confusing stories here. Go ahead.
Should get $10,000 knocked off their current outstanding school debt with some very minor rules. And the blame was the previous administration gave money all to the rich, but there is already a current policy in place for firefighters, teachers, nurses to get after 120 payments of your current debt that they'll wipe out X percent. David, where does President Biden have the power to wipe out debt for individuals? I don't get it.
Okay, so here's the amazing thing, okay? And this
is amazing.
What's amazing? What's amazing? Let's go for a little bit of the facts here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Mr. Biden ran on a policy. He's been pushed by his members of his party. Elizabeth Warren pushed for this. Our good friend from Vermont pushed for this,
Bernie.
And good old Bernie, you're right. And everybody, on the hard left is like, we need to cancel student debt. Now, let's be understanding here. I am not suggesting that debt should not. This debt is ridiculous and not crippling. I will not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand a government who cries poverty, who can send billions of dollars to the Ukraine, cannot deal with poverty in the United States, cannot deal with infrastructure in the United States. Cybersecurity is a massive threat, cannot deal with it. But we're talking about votes, and we're talking about the interesting time that it's now late August, early almost September. We're almost like 75 odd days to the election. And what a time to drop a bomb on everybody. To say that, listen, we're going to give almost 43 million people $10,000, up to 20, by the way, if they're Pell Grant recipients, right? That's about 60% apparently, or something along those lines. So if I do the quick math, we're talking about billions of dollars that the government has claimed that they don't have. So, Stuart, we're going to forgive debt to private institutions? Like, I want to understand here, is Mr. Biden, which wasn't really made clear, he's canceling it.
Whoa. Look, when you talk about not making anything clear, there is nothing clear about any part of this offering other than the fact that it's an easy way to buy votes and have the ability to blame, those Republicans.
Hold on. Yes, I know, but let's put the numbers here, okay? Because I want to thank my friends at CNBC who actually reported about this. And now they put the numbers out there and they're going, listen, those that are going to get $10,000 in student debt cancellation will amount to $244 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars. And those on the Pell Grant recipients, which is about $20,000 a person, is $120 billion. So I'm not stupid. That's $364 billion in debt relief. That's what's going to cost the government. So is the government suddenly going to send to the schools this money. Now, that's an interesting thing because I can't imagine the administrative cost of figuring this sucker out. That's not, of course, in the amount here. You're talking even more money. So, up until recently, the left, hard left, loved it. The liberal media loved it. Whoopi Goldberg loved it. Joy Reid loved it. These guys loved it. But then the numbers came out and they're going, wait a minute, $364 billion. Great.
No. The
Where's
number
this coming from?
the number is $500 billion, and they don't even know how much exactly it's going to be. They have no idea where they're going to fund it. The press secretary for the president of the United States did everything, couldn't answer Juicy's questions. Poor Mr. Ducey gets ripped apart by President Biden in a manner in which was so unpresidential, it made Donald Trump look presidential, right? Donald Trump calls people out for being losers and being idiots, but he does it to their face in a very upfront manner. He doesn't scold them beyond that. This president scolded this Peter Ducey guy who looks like Doogie Howser. I mean, I'd scold him too, just for the way he looks. But Peter Ducey kept asking the question, but where are you funding it from? The sky is blue. Where are you funding it from?
You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to question this president. You see this time and time again.
Hold it, David. You just said something that's very important. You can't question the president because the president can't respond. He doesn't know what he's doing or saying.
You know what, Stuart, listen, we've seen politicians ad nauseum. They love to promise what they don't have, right? They love to promise you gifts and monies and all that kind of stuff. But what's interesting here is, look, this is, his own party, and Chuck Schumer, God bless him, was one of those, guys who said, no, we shouldn't cancel up to 10,000. We should cancel 50,000 or more per person. Now, listen, you leave a state university, right? You probably have somewhere in the vicinity of $20,000 to $50,000 in debt. If you're in a private university, okay, you're probably looking at $250,000 in debt. Now, here's the thing. You knew this going into this. You knew it going into this. Now, who's going off to university? We're not talking about all of America. We're talking about a privileged 40-odd% of Americans who go to university. Privileged, because a university is a privilege. It's not a right. Okay. Then,
by the way, this Pell Grant, this waiving, erasing of debt that, I don't know, David, you had a couple of kids in American universities. Does that mean you're going to be entitled to this?
No,
we let everyone in this country. Your son should be entitled to it.
No, because I'm not a voter.
Hang on a second. It doesn't say you have to be a voter to be eligible.
No,
David, hey man, David, when they put out applications, you would be a fool not to have your son put out that application to get it, because you know what? He makes under $125,000.
Stuart, they actually specifically said to Americans. They didn't say the international students. They were very specific about this because, again, we don't vote. I don't vote. My kids who are now can vote, don't vote. We don't count because we're not American citizens.
Well, you're not Mexican.
The thing is, maybe we should be. The thing is that's really disgusting, and I'm seeing this time and time again, is, I understand, couples that are earning $125,000 per year, couples, so it's family income of 125 under. I mean, that's a serious percentage. Okay, each person. So $250,000 per couple. Now, you and I ranted, I think, a year ago about the top 1% of Americans. Now, you know that the top 1% is probably paying it off and doesn't care and is not sitting on this. I get that. But here you're telling me under 125 per person, that's a lot of money. Okay. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't help people like that, but you have just, by offering it to 40 million Americans, you're bribing 43 million Americans to vote for you. You're bribing them. Yep. Because really, and you know what? I'm sorry, the Biden administration learned it from Trudeau, learned it from other leaders who during COVID paid. But I
got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. You know what the happiest part about all of this is? We all talk about DC as being the swamp, David, right? Well, what if I told you the average income, the average household income in DC is $150,000.
Yeah, but Stuart, household income. This is
I
this is
know. I know.
125 per person. And so
I
you know what?
understand.
And you know what? And he's even, like I don't know about you, but you are going into, you're telling, like if you want to go ahead and pay $10,000 for every student who went to university, these 43 million, you want to pay the part of their debt, and I think that's, in theory, it's admirable. But you're doing it as an election campaign. You're not doing this out of the goodness of your heart. And oh, by the way, I have a slightly different question.
Oh.
And I'll go back to what I said before. Why university students and not the poor? Why not help underprivileged people making below the poverty line? And how many millions of Americans are living under the poverty line? They don't get a dime. But privileged, and I'm being polite here, university students, post-university students are going to get money. What is wrong? Why is anyone not screaming and yelling about that? Oh, goody, we're not eliminating student debt, but you're buying votes instead of fixing the poor, underprivileged. There are crumbling infrastructure across the United States that you're not, please, we shouldn't do that. Oh, that's a different bill. And blah, blah. You know what, Mr. Biden, congratulations. Maybe you bought some votes, but it's really, really disgusting. And oh, by the way, what is it? They're going to do this as of when? January 2023 with the new administration. Ugh.
David, 42.9 million Americans have federal student debt. Now, that's not all student debt. That's federal. When you transfer it out and you fall into this trap of merging these loans for ease, you actually exclude yourself. But there currently is a program for teachers, nurses, right?
Yep.
Police people that the previous administration put into effect. They say that these applications are arduous and that lower income households aren't capable of actually even filling them out. So in the end, when you said it's going to help the wealthy, it's going to help the wealthier bracket of university debt holders or college debt holders, which I find to be even a bigger insult. I want to know, how much student debt does Biden's son have?
Oh, listen, hey, Stuart, he wouldn't be eligible, right? Theoretically, he's making, with his laptop alone, he's making over 125,000. So let's not go there. But it's really, you know what? This, there are people saying, you conservatives, you're such cynicals. We have to do something about student debt. It's crippling students. And I agree wholeheartedly that there's got to be something.
Right, but it's not the solution. It's not the solution.
But canceling their debt, you're going to pay $10,000 of their $200,000 in debt. That's a big chunk. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But the biggest problem that you're facing is that you're putting the money not where it should go. You're putting the money where the votes will go. That's disgusting. Put the money, you, the Democratic Party, who says you're the party of the people, prove it.
They lost that title a long time ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of yet another wonderful super week. We love you. We look forward to seeing you next week here on the Rant Network. Take care, everybody. Have a great